Youth Biolab Jeunesse.
Hi, I'm Steve.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Anjelica.
We're from the Youth Biolab at the Albrechtsen Research Centre at St. Boniface Hospital. We all know the job of the hospital is to treat patients. Here at the Research Centre, our job is to study disease. If we ever want to cure a disease, we have to understand it first.
When you think of scientists studying disease, you probably think first of things like cancer or more recently, COVID-19. We don't study either of those here. But there are research scientists over at the National Microbiology Lab who are studying infectious diseases like the flu or COVID-19 or Ebola, where they have special equipment that can protect them from the germs that they're working with. There are also groups of cancer scientists working over at Cancer Care Manitoba in Health Sciences Centre, and it's their job to study cancer. We like to keep scientists together so that they can work as a team to come up with cures or treatments for these diseases that we see.
At the Albrechtsen Research Centre, we have three big interests. On our fourth floor, we have the Division of Neurodegenerative Disorders. This is where we study diseases that affect the brain and nervous system, just like Alzheimer's disease and type 2 diabetes nerve damage. On our third floor, we have the Institute of Cardiovascular Sciences. This is where we study diseases that affect the heart and cardiovascular system. On our second floor, we have the Canadian Centre for Agri-Food Research in Health and Medicine, and this is where we study food. They research foods that are really good for us, some that might be bad for us, and some that might be so good that they act like medicine.
Our lab, the Youth Biolab, was created so that we can share some of the things that we do here in the Research Centre with you. And hopefully we can help you learn a little bit more about how medical science works and understand a little bit more of the science of your own health.
Hi everyone. Today we want to talk about nutrients. We have to eat food many times a day, every single day. You probably have some favorite foods and maybe some foods you don't really like to eat. You might have seen posters like this at your school. It's a helpful guide that shows the different food groups and how much we should eat from each group a day. Can you see that it says you should eat more fruits and vegetables than grains or protein, and that water is the encouraged drink of choice? This is what a general balanced diet looks like. So the big questions here are, why do we need food, and why should we eat different amounts of food from different food groups? Different foods have different kinds and amounts of nutrients. You've probably heard of nutrients before, but what are they really? Nutrients are tiny molecules that are essential for our cells to survive and do their jobs. Our cells don't have mouths, so they certainly can't eat a sandwich, but we can. When we eat and digest food, the food gets broken down into tiny pieces called nutrients, and the nutrients get absorbed into our blood and get transported to all of our cells and tissues. Nutrients are super small and are able to enter into cells through their channels. At our research center, we have an entire division studying foods and how they affect our health. Sometimes we're interested in the nutrients in foods, but scientists are also learning about natural foods that might actually help prevent certain diseases. There are 6 essential nutrients that our cells and our body need to survive. And we get these essential nutrients from eating different kinds of foods from all of our food groups. The first essential nutrient we want to talk about today is protein. When you think of the word protein, you might think of a big juicy steak or some salmon. And you'd be right. These are great sources of protein. But what does protein do for you? Proteins are large molecules that our cells use to build tissue like muscle, skin, organs, or even our blood. Our bodies use proteins to make hormones, which are molecules that tell our cells what to do. Proteins also make enzymes. They regulate the many different chemical reactions that are happening in our bodies. We get protein from eating things like eggs, meat, beans, and nuts. Here we have some protein-rich foods that you've probably eaten before. I want you to take a nice and close look at these foods. We have 2 large eggs, 1 small can of tuna, half a cup of raw almonds, and half a cup of black beans. Which of these foods do you think has the most protein? We're using freeze-dried liver to represent protein. The food with the highest amount of protein here is the half cup of almonds with 17.9 grams of protein. Nuts are a great plant-based source of protein and have a lot of heart-healthy fats. Tuna, along with other fish, eggs, and beans are all very high in protein and taste delicious. Not only are all of these foods high in protein, but they are packed full of other essential nutrients that our bodies really need. Next, we have carbohydrates, or sugars. When I think of carbohydrates, I think of spaghetti or maybe a can of Sprite. Carbohydrates are any food that our body can digest down into simple sugars called glucose. Glucose is what our cells use for energy to grow and do all of their special jobs. All of our body's cells need some sugar, especially our brain cells. So carbohydrates are an important part of our balanced diet. We can get carbohydrates from whole foods like fruit, grains, and milk, but also from some processed sugary foods we love to eat and drink, like chocolate bars, soda, and cookies. Even though chocolate bars and cookies have carbs for our cells to eat, we should only eat these foods occasionally because other than sugar, they don't have a lot of other nutrients for our cells to eat. We generally break down sugar into two groups: simple sugars and complex sugars. Simple sugars are small in structure, and they are very, very tasty and sweet. They're all the sugars that you typically think of that are super sweet, like the sugar that you bake with. Your body digests or breaks down simple sugars very quickly because they're so small in size. These sugars get into your bloodstream quickly and in turn cause your blood sugar to rise quickly. Complex sugars have a larger chemical structure and don't taste sugary at all, like a potato or a piece of bread. You can find complex sugars in a lot of whole foods we eat, like fruits, vegetables, and grains. It takes your body a longer time to break the complex sugars down because they're so big. So it takes a longer time to get into your bloodstream. Because they take so long to break down, complex sugars don't raise your blood sugar as quickly as simple sugars do. Here we have some tasty foods that many of us enjoy, and they're super full of carbohydrates that our cells need for energy. We have 3 cookies, 1 large gala apple, 3/4 cup of granola cereal, and a bottle of orange juice. Which of these foods do you think has the most sugar? The food with the highest amount of sugar here is the 3/4 cup of granola cereal with 37 grams of sugar. I know that the amount of sugar in these foods looks super shocking, but don't worry, not all of the sugar is going into your blood for your cells to use. Some of the sugars present in these foods are called fiber, which is a type of a long sugar chain that comes from plant-based foods. Our bodies don't break down or absorb this fiber, and it goes directly through our digestive system. Fiber is really important for our digestive health, and we should try to incorporate foods with fiber into our diet every day. Next is fat. We sometimes hear about fats being bad, or maybe you've heard that there are good fats and bad fats. What scientists are really interested in is what are these different types of fats doing inside of our body? Everybody needs fat to live. Fats are an important source of energy. They keep us warm and they protect our organs. They're even necessary to help us absorb certain vitamins, like vitamin A. So it's really important to get some fat in the foods we choose. We can eat dietary fats from many different foods. The best sources are from whole foods like nuts and seeds, cheese, fish, or fruits like avocado. When we add extra fat to foods and cooking, these different fats are used in different ways in our body. There are some fats that scientists worry might contribute to diseases like heart disease. We call these saturated fats. They're stiff or solid at room temperature, like lard, and they can build up in your blood vessels over time. Scientists also think some fats are very healthy and may even prevent these diseases, like olive oil, avocados, or the omega-3s in flax or fish oils. When we eat processed foods, especially from fast food restaurants, we're often getting much more saturated fats than we would burn off in a day. So when possible, it's best to cook meals at home where you can see what's going into your food. Here we have some yummy foods that are naturally high in fats that a lot of us probably eat. We have 1 avocado, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, 1 cup of 2% milk, and 1/4 cup of processed cheese. Which of these foods do you think has the most fat? The food with the highest amount of fat is the avocado, with 29 grams of fat. The high amount of unsaturated fats from the avocado are great for our heart and help our cells grow and do their jobs. Every single one of these foods contains both saturated and unsaturated fats, even the heart-healthy avocado. It's pretty much impossible to cut all of the saturated fats from your diet, but foods extremely high in saturated fats like a Big Mac or other processed or deep-fried foods where fat is added should only be eaten occasionally. The food that we have laid out here have high fats, but they also have many other nutrients our bodies need, and we can eat these foods basically every day. We also need vitamins and minerals. There are many different types of vitamins, and they all have different jobs in the body. You might even take a gummy vitamin every day to make sure you're getting these important nutrients. You've probably heard of some vitamins like vitamin A, B, or C. We need to eat vitamins because our body can't make them, but our cells really need them to do their jobs. Our cells need vitamins to help enzymes that regulate the chemical reactions in our body, and we need vitamins so our eyes can see properly and to make our skin and hair. There are also many types of minerals, and they all do different things for our bodies. Some minerals you might have heard of are calcium from milk, sodium, and maybe even potassium. Our bodies also can't make minerals, but we need them to make up our teeth, bones, and to help regulate the water balance in our cells. Vitamins and minerals are found in pretty much all non-processed foods, so foods like fruits, vegetables, meats, dairy, and grains. There are so many vitamins and minerals we could choose from, but today we chose foods that are high in vitamin C, which is one of the vitamins people commonly hear about because it helps grow and maintain healthy tissues all over the body. We have 1 red bell pepper, 1 navel orange, 1 kiwi, and 5 adult gummy vitamins. Which of these foods do you think has the most vitamin C? This one actually surprised me. The food with the highest amount of vitamin C is the red bell pepper. Oranges are known for their vitamin C. Even a lot of vitamin C supplements we buy at the store have a picture of an orange on them. But in reality, they should really be putting bell peppers on their bottle instead. Vitamin C is really important for our health. It helps our wounds heal, it keeps our bones and teeth healthy, and it helps form the collagen in our skin that makes us look nice and youthful. Lastly, we need water. Our bodies are made of about 60% water. It's kind of weird to think that we're mostly liquid, but our cells contain water, and they're also surrounded by water. So we need to drink water and eat foods with lots of water to maintain the water levels in our body so our cells can work properly. Our cells need water to regulate body temperature, remove waste, and absorb vitamins like vitamin B and C. As an adult, people should be taking in about 11 to 15 cups of water. This is 15 cups of water, and this is so much. This doesn't mean we have to drink this much water. Have you ever heard the phrase, eat your water? There are so many fruits and vegetables that are made up of high volumes of water, so you might eat some of these foods super often. Here we have half a cup of lettuce, half a cup of celery, half a cup of cucumbers, and half a cup of cherry tomatoes. Which of these foods do you think has the most water? The food with the highest amount of water was the tomato with 79 milliliters of water. It was a really close competition. All of these foods have either 96 or 95% water. Not only do these foods have a ton of water, but they also have a lot of other yummy nutrients that are good for our cells. When it comes to the foods we eat, there are a lot of options. When we go to the grocery store to get a snack, it seems like the choices are endless. To help choose foods that are right for you, you can look at the nutrition facts label on packaged foods. Here are 2 very sweet fruit snacks, some real fruit tropical gummies and some dried apricots, real whole fruits. If we look at their nutrition facts labels, we can see they have roughly the same serving size, and they're nearly the same in calories and in total sugars. So they're both tasty, sweet snacks, but the fruit gummies are super processed. It's basically just the juice of the fruit with some simple sugars and corn syrup added. The whole dried apricots have only natural sugars. They have some fiber in them that might help keep our blood sugar more level, and they have some vitamins and minerals, which the fruit gummies are lacking. When choosing foods, it's okay to indulge sometimes in sweet and salty treats, but it's important not to eat exclusively high fats or high sugar foods, but eat a nice balanced diet that is rich in vitamins and minerals. A lot of the foods people have access to and are affordable are foods from fast food restaurants, but sometimes foods at restaurants can be high in fats or sugars. A common restaurant people go to is McDonald's, and they're famous for their Big Mac. Steve loves a Big Mac. They're so tasty and they have a lot of nutrients our bodies need, like fats and proteins. But does this look like a balanced meal to you? There aren't a lot of fruits or vegetables, and the bun is highly processed. The beef patties are a great source of protein and iron, but overall, one of these burgers is equal to 48% of your daily fat intake. If you add a large fry to your order, that's another 42% of your daily fat intake. One meal making up 90% of your daily fat intake is pretty wild. If you were to make a burger at home, you could customize the burger to fit your dietary needs, like having a bigger burger, adding more vegetables, or having a smaller bun. It's not necessarily unhealthy to eat high-fat or high-sugar foods, but if we're putting in all of that energy into our bodies and never using it, we're throwing our bodies off balance by giving it too much of something we don't really need. Our bodies need proteins, sugars, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water every single day. Treat your body well and make the right food choices for yourself, and you can feel better as you age. When you can, eat fresh, whole foods and try cooking at home instead of eating at restaurants where you don't really see what's going into your food. It's always important to think about your long-term health and make sure you eat what your body needs by eating a balanced diet. Thanks for tuning into Healthy Curiosity. Stay curious. Make sure to click like and subscribe for more videos and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. To support the Youth Biolab's ongoing programming and expansion plans, please contact St. Boniface Hospital Foundation at stbhf.ca.